Yes, sir.
I guess this question is a little, maybe a little general. I'm not, very acquainted with as far as the industry and anything like that. But as far as somebody who, I do a lot of writing, and I draw a lot of my own stuff. I covering a lot of different genres, and I just don't know how would you go about, you got ideas and you have some talent. I mean, and not knowing anyone in the industry. I mean, how do you, what's something? Where do you start? What's the direction? Or how else you, or suggestions? I guess. I mean.
Yeah. How would you start in the industry now if you have some ideas and some talent? When I got into comics, this is going to sound like the kid that walked 5 miles in the snow to get to school, but we had no internet, and we had no books, and we had no one to talk to. So, I lived in, after I graduated from college, I moved back in with my parents, and I set up a drawing table in my bedroom right next to my bed, and I got up out of bed every day, and I drew 8 to 10 hours like I had the job already, and it sucked. It was like, this is horrible. It's a job, and I don't get any money for it. And it was hard. It was hard sitting in a chair for that long. And I still didn't know how to get into comics, so I went to a local comic book shop in St. Louis, Missouri, and they had all these fanzine magazines, like Amazing Heroes, and there are all these magazines written by fans where they interview creators, and almost every issue had like an interview with someone, like how do you break into comics. So I'd find all these old magazines for a quarter, and I'd take them home. And I went to the library, and that's where you guys, these used to be these buildings you go and you can check out books, and they were free, so I don't know if they have one here, they might. But if you go, you can find these books and things on paper, and they have like, Stan Lee's guide, or Stan Lee's How to Draw the Marvel Way, and George Bridgman's Guide to Life Drawing. And so I really cobbled together this curriculum of how to get into comics myself. And today you could, with one Google search, you can find all that information. And then on top of it, you can put all that in, you could sit down and do your work, wake up, draw next to your bed 8, 10 hours a day, write your stories. You can go on to several sites like DeviantArt and just put your work out there and publish it yourself online. If I had that, boy, I don't know if I'd be here today, honestly. I think it would have been completely different, That said, I will say that when I did my work, because I didn't know anyone, I just thought it was amazing. Like no one told me that it sucked, and no one told me. I just assumed it was great, and so I had a lot of great, like, hey, you're doing great. And today, if you put stuff online, there's always people that will hate on it, and so it'd be kind of distracting. Or even when I worked on the X-Men, I only heard the good stuff because I go to conventions, and no one ever says anything bad to you at the convention. They wait till they go home and get on their keyboards. But back in the day when I worked on the X-Men, people would come up, and I just got such positive response from the fans. But it would have been different, I think, if I were doing that today, because there would be a lot of negativity online, and I couldn't help but like read that stuff because it gets some weird titillation out of it, and that probably would have like kind of messed with my sense of what I'm doing is correct, and I'm going to keep doing it. I think one of the key things is you want to get feedback, you want criticism, so you can get better at your craft, but at the same time, you don't want people, holding you back from your dream. So, yes.
Sort of coming off of that, what advice would you give to an artist in terms of portfolio to make it? Because obviously in this day and age, there's a lot of people trying to get into comics. So, what advice would you give to like in terms of character and genre, like what type of things would you put in a portfolio, or what makes your portfolio really stand out among seeds of portfolio?
Yeah, I would say your best stuff. It seems obvious, but I have people literally bring me work that I drew this 3 years ago, and I'm serious. 3 years ago, and what do you think? And I think it's great. If I could go back in time and give you a job or something, I don't know. It's like it's not relevant, or even people that will bring me work and say, I drew this last weekend. It's not finished because I just drew it a couple days ago. And it's like, no, that doesn't show a commitment to your work, and it doesn't show me a commitment to you showing that you can finish a job even, So 3 pages really is all I need to see. I'll politely look through your entire portfolio, but 3 pages you can tell. Actually 1 page, but let's say 3 pages. And it doesn't really matter. If you draw Marvel characters and you draw them great, I'm not going to say, wow, you know what, I can't hire you. You know, so you can really just draw whatever you want, you know. Outside of that crazy Japanese, like, sexy, I mean, whatever that stuff is, that's weird. It's like, I just go like, and I see that stuff and I go, wow, this is weird, really weird stuff to show me. I want you to go see a doctor. And, but outside of that kind of genre, like any of that stuff, really looking for storytelling and then the ability to draw. And if you could do both of those, you know, you will get hired. There's no one, we're not trying not to hire people. It's just that it's like American Idol. There's so few of the thousands. You know, when we did our talent search in the early days of Image, we get these plastic mailbox cartons from the post office, and we get like 4 of these a day filled with just submissions. And literally, we would find maybe 2 to 4 out of thousands, and it was that, yeah. So, yes.
I guess off of what you said earlier about, or just breaking in, given your experience at Image, you know, several years ago, and the whole, you know, all the kind of turmoil that ensued, what's your feeling now towards kind of creator-owned properties and that whole model?
Yeah, creator-owned properties are a lot tougher sell than they used to be. There's a part of me that wants a lot of the new talent, like the new hot talent, to kind of band together and do an Image 2.0 just to kind of shake things up. I don't think it's healthy for the industry if only your marquee brands like Spider-Man and Superman and Batman are your perennial top sellers. You know, I think we have to keep the industry exciting and introduce new concepts, new characters, different genres. That's why I think lines like Vertigo and Wildstorm are important to what we do. And even bringing in like video game-based properties, people go like, oh, you're just doing like a comic based on a video game. Why do I care? It's like, well, because there are a lot more people that play video games than read comics, and there's a fair amount of overlap of nerdage there. So you can bring these guys in, and you know, they're at home, they're alone. You know, it's like read instead of play the game. And so I'm one of them anyway. So and like, why not do this stuff? Why, you know? And I think creator-owned stuff is an important part of it, and I think a lot of that creator-owned stuff is kind of siphoned off the internet, going back to this gentleman's question, where a lot of young creators are doing their own thing and realizing they don't necessarily need a big publisher to put their work out. And there are a lot of things that have found success, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That's not like a kid that's doing it, but it's definitely a different off-genre thing that Marvel and DC would never publish. It's kind of in our sort of, it's in our, the type of stuff that we would, you know, it's comics, but it's not something that we would publish, and yet it's found tremendous success, and even like PvP Online and Penny Arcade, all that stuff, and I think it's fantastic. So that's where you're seeing it.